Hi guys, this is Dr. Aeronautics and welcome to this next special episode of Norsden Land to NISO. We're going to fly the F-104 Starfighter on a long-haul trip. Basically right now we have it parked at the Buzzacunger Beach where we last left it after the successful Zoom climb. And now we're going to fly it south to the Space Center, which is around here, and we're going to build a B-1 Lancer replica that will carry the F-104 Starfighter. So as I've done the calculations here, the range is it's about 1,750 miles, statute miles. So if, for example, we wanted to go from New Venice to Westport, you'll notice that that distance is 3,462, and that is literally just beyond twice the range. So I've built an airport down here in the center, Riverton National, but the problem is it can barely make it to Riverton National. But then, once there, we cannot complete the trip to Westport. So the B-1 is going to allow us to carry the F-104 Starfighter from here to here, all in one trip, and we're going to test it to verify it. If this is the case, we can be anywhere in Norsden Land that has an airport within 12 hours, which is exciting news. So this distance is about 1,600 miles, so it covers almost all of the range that we have. The F-104 will be fully laden, and we're going to be flying this in Flight Simulator with the geodetic equivalent coordinates of the Mid-Atlantic and Cancun. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now I can show you some other things planned. Here it is, everyone. Here are the B-1 Lancer schematics that I drew up. I know this looks very confusing, but basically let me explain to you what you see. I started with a Wikipedia page for the B-1 Lancer, took its stowed wing position, and scaled it so that each meter represented 10 by 10 pixels. And so I have constructed it using pixelation. So I did that for each axis, and then I copied it a whole bunch of times to use it for reference. So then what I did was I took this model here and then translated it on X and Z for each Y-axis plane. For each X-Z axis plane on the Y-axis. So what you're looking at here is a top-down of each level. So the first level is obviously the tires, and then the landing gear, and then more landing gear and the lower part of the engines, and then the wings and main part of the plane, then an upper section. I'm going to put in a crafting table and a chest as well. And then we have the top portion. There's some windows here. This would be the cockpit. And then we have the horizontal stabilizer, and then of course the vertical stabilizer up here. So that's the entire thing, and you'll notice there's a void in the center, and this is the cargo bay that stores the extra fuel that we need to fly that distance, and the F-104 Starfighter to go ahead and put it in as well. So we need to carry extra fuel with us because, of course, the F-104 weighs the plane down, but the maximum amount that it can carry is well over the weight of the Starfighter fully laden. So everything is just fine in that department. So here's some news. I have finally used the maps that we made of the entirety of Norsden Land to create this one-page map of everything in Norsden Land. Norsden land has 16 unique biomes. 14 are non-repetitive, which means there are 14 types of biomes. But there are 16 in total. Of course, as we expect, the central swamp is taking up the major portion, and then you can see here's the redwood forest, the central tundra, here's the autumn forest, a pine forest, a boreal forest, meadows, what is this? Temperate rainforest, northern tundra, another pine forest, islands, and barrier islands, and of course the equatorial forests, and the Tetrium jungle is here. One more thing that I took to doing, but I don't think I'm going to get to, is planning about 10 more routes. So here are the road rules. I'm not going to read them out. You can read them out if you would like to. But basically, I have the pattern set here so that we have N1, and the N routes increase to N100, which is the west coast route. And then we start with W15 as the southernmost east-west route. And then there's various ones in between, climbing up to eventually 75. So this is what I planned for so far. I don't know if we're ever going to get to implement it because of the amount of stuff that you need. For example, W55, if we considered its length to be 3,000, actually 4,000 meters, which would be a low estimate, then we would have to place 8,000 blocks in order to create a highway, which is ridiculous. So unless we can automate it, not to mention these bridges here, so unless we can automate it, we're just going to have to imagine that these exist. So here we are. It's night now because we've been, well, I've been flying this thing so much that the sun has gone down, and it's now locally almost 9 p.m. So this is actually going to be a night flight, which is pretty cool. It'll give a unique experience. But meanwhile, I have attached all of our attachment tanks to the craft. There is, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 external tanks. Now this is going to considerably weigh down the Starfighter. But, as we all know, the Starfighter is extraordinarily powerful, so we will still be able to move around with quick movements. Of course, though, we're trying to conserve every bit of fuel that we can, so we're not going to do that. If we somehow got intercepted by someone trying to prevent the flight, well, then we could abort and choose a different airport, and at the same time just gun it and be like, hey, you can't catch us. But anyway, so I'm not going to pause the video this time while I run through the startup procedure because I've gotten very used to it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first thing, which is starting the EPU. Of course, we need to move some switches here. I know you probably can't see this, and well, technically I'm not supposed to even either. That's not supposed to happen yet. Okay, let's check our warning lights. AIM 70 power out, fixed frequency out, generator number 1, 2 out, hydraulic system out, DC primary bus out, canopy unsafe, engine oil level, fuel low, internal nav fault, inertial nav fault. Okay, everything was good. So now UHF radio as required. Stability control switches on. Roll, pitch, yaw. APC cutout switch on. Automatic pilot control switches are off. Okay, fuel shutoff switch. Guard down, clip in place, safe tied. External tank selector as required. We have tips and we have pylons. We use the pylons first, so I've selected the pylons. Radar control panel to off. Check. Wing flap lever up. And it is up. Throttle off. Check. Good. Speed brake switch is in. Landing gear lights are lit. Landing taxi light switch off is yes. Engine duct anti-ice is off. Turn anti-skid on. Drag chute handle stowed. Check. Manual landing gear handle stowed. Check. UHF channel selector is required. We can just use channel 3 for now. Altimeter set to 9 or 9 or 7. Airspeed marker as desired. I must have forgotten to reset it last time. I like resetting the airspeed markers. We're going to go to 20,000 feet and Mach 0.8 to start the cruise. We're starting very low because we're incredibly heavy. So we need as much lift as we can get. So that's check. Accelerometer reset, good. Standby attitude indicator is reading, of course incorrectly though. Clock check should be almost 9 o'clock. Good, 8:40, and GMT should be 140. And it is. And check GMT 12-hour time, and that's good as well. External fuel tank quantity selector switch, check quantity. So right now we have 1,300 in the pylons, and in the tips we have 1,100. So the pylons are going to be these two tanks in the middle, and the tips are going to be on the outside. All the rest of the external stores here are treated as internal lines because they're fed right into the main tank because they're not gravity fed. Okay, so that's good. We want to be reading good pylons. Generators number 1 and 2 on. Tack-on control panel off. Man, I can barely see this. First of all, IFF should be off. Okay, tack-on is off. IFF master switch, yeah, I just turned it off. Inertial navigator to standby. I'm sorry, not standby. Yes, standby. There we go. Okay, good. The orange light lit up. Pilot pitch probe temperature heater switch is off. Lighting control panel as required. So now we can turn on our night light. So this is what it's going to look like in here at night. If for some reason we need to read something extra, we can also turn on this additional floodlight and it'll get brighter in here. But for now we can just do that. Oh yes, and we also need the navigation lights to let people know that we're gonna... Oh no, what just happened? Did we just lose power? I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe some circuit breaker tripped? I don't know. Okay, lighting control panel as required. Check. And then align control panel as required. So now I have to finish waiting for the warm-up procedure to stop. So that's 34 seconds. I'm going to pause the video real quick while we wait for that to complete. Okay, the warning light's gone out, so we can now advance to the align control mode. We're now ready to start the engine. So I am going to give a check and make sure that no one is around the craft and no one is next to the craft. So we can proceed with the startup procedure. So start switch, start and release. And we're going to watch our RPM rise. There's 5%. There is 10%, so we can now safely start the engine. And there's 12%. Throttle open, 22%. Okay, RPM is rising. 1 There's the catch. Ignition, 40% N1 thrust idle, and EPU has been disconnected. Just like clockwork. Nozzle position is at 9. That checks out. Tachometer 67%. That checks out as well. Oil pressure at least 12 psi, and we're at 40 psi, and we are at the nominal 849 pounds per hour, which is perfect. Let's check that our inertial navigator is in the process of aligning, and it is. It's counting down. Radar is required, so I'm going to begin the warm-up procedure here. UHF is on. TACON can be turned on here. TACON is now on. IFF, we can go to standby. Radar, we can go to mode, activate. And it looks a little bit different now because it's night. And IFF, we can now go for full traffic updates since we're going to be low. The next thing that we're going to do is engine anti-ice. I want that on for the time being. We may turn it off later. And we are now ready for the, well, let's go ahead and turn the GSC on. And we'll go to 350 to start. Actually, you know what? We're going to probably be closer to 300. Well, hang on a second. This is ground speed, 400. Okay. Good. So let's do the 5-finger checks. Speed brakes out. Let's check and make sure speed brakes have come out. So let's bring those back in. Controls. Aileron. Horizontal stabilizer. And rudder. So all of our controls check out. Trim set to takeoff, so we like 53%. There's 53%. Dampers off and on again. So roll, pitch, yaw off. On roll, on pitch, on yaw. And the last thing is flaps position to land. Let's check and make sure that that has happened. Okay, we have the land lights. Check under 20 seconds. Flaps to take off. And there is the takeoff sign. So it looks like we are done. Actually, no, just about to be done. Okay, so the line is now flashing. Inertial to nav and 0 PHI. So that checks out as well. I'm going to do the taxi checks off screen, and I will see you guys when we go on to the runway. So see you guys in a couple of minutes after the video runs down for a minute. Let's increase throttle to taxi. Let's hope that's enough power to get us rolling, and it doesn't look like it is, so give it a little bit more juice, and we're moving. Okay. What are we at now? 33%. Alright. And now we're going to be taxiing fast, because the less, or the faster you go, the less fuel you end up using, because generally use the same amount of fuel for taxi. See you guys outside the runway. All right, so we're right outside right off the runway now. I actually was a little bit concerned about the amount of fuel that we burned in taxiing, so I had them fill me up one more time right here at the runway. We can run through the before takeoff checklist now. Tanks external feeding. Let's check that. Tips are not being cooperative right now. I'm sorry, the pylons, whatever. Having trouble reading that. 2535. Come on, I need one more day. 5453. Okay, yeah, they're feeding. Okay, wing flaps in the takeoff position. They are. Speed brakes in, check. Speed brakes are in. Canopy locked, warning lights out. So let's go ahead and shut the canopy now. Good. Canopy is shut, warning lights out, and the lock has been checked visually. Now, stabilizer takeoff trim light is on. That's good. And pilot heat switch should be on for the time being. Done. Okay. So now we can roll onto the runway and do a quick engine check. And then we want to be off as quickly as we can. Okay, looks like we're lined up. Let's go ahead and set the parking brake and do our engine check. It's 93% check for compressor stall. Good, that was a stall. And now we go to 90 and do our engine check again. 55% throttle. 24 degrees, 4,900 pounds per hour. And that checks. So we're ready for takeoff now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off and then fly to a heading of 220 degrees. And then we're going to hold that for a very long time. So we're going to actually use afterburner, and this is the only time we're going to use afterburner during the flight, is during the takeoff run. 3, 2, 1, military, afterburner, maximum. Rotate. Okay, we're airborne, gear up, reducing afterburner. 20,000 feet. So we can get ready to start leveling off now. Set our course. Whoops, there's 20,000. Check our pylons, and we still have some fuel left in them. I need to reach optimum cruise now. Probably climbed a little bit too fast, but that's okay because we would have wound up using that anyway. Okay, here it comes, Mach 0.8. Mach hold is on. We should now, yes, we're throttling back. Altitude hold, here's 20,000 feet. Go ahead and move the radar range out now to its fullest extent. And we're holding altitude. So I'm going to... how did that get turned off? We should be holding Mach 0.8. So I'm going to wait for that to go down some before I engage it again. There it is. It's great that we've been real gentle on the craft. You can see we've only done a little bit more G-force maneuvering. Or maneuvering in the way of G-forces, which is good. Okay, so we're in long distance cruise now. So what is going to happen now is we're going to watch the pylons as they go down, and then when they run out, we'll switch tanks. So I will actually pause the video while that happens and then come back for that. Meanwhile, fuel flow is 4,900 pounds per hour, which is expected. We hold 20,000 feet and 0.8 Mach until the gross weight drops from our 30,000, which is what we should have been at the top of the climb, to what would that be? 25,000 pounds. At 25,000 pounds gross weight, then we're going to climb again to 30,000 feet and hold Mach 0.83 until we reach 22,000 pounds per hour, and then we're going to slow down to Mach 0.8 and hold that until we descend. And that should allow us to go as far as possible on as little fuel as possible, because here, unfortunately, every bit counts. So here we are cruising at 500 knots, which is actually quite fast. So our ground speed would then be 577 miles per hour, which is very fast. Okay, guys, see you when the pylons run out. Hi guys, we just run out of the tips, as evident by the lower end of the gauge on the external reading 0. So that means we're on internal fuel now, as you can read by this sign which says selected tank empty. So now we go to the tips. Looks like those are ticking down as well, which is good, although not too fast. So that wasn't actually that long. Meanwhile, for time, it's 9:16 now, which means we've gone about 150 miles since cruise began. Not far, but the great thing about the rocket equation is the longer we stay aloft, the lighter we'll get, and the less fuel we'll need to burn. We're already at 4,800 pounds per hour, and when we transfer to 30,000 feet, that will go down drastically. So I notice we have a caution light, which is just telling me that engine duct anti-ice is on. Well, the temperature of the turbine is 22 degrees. So we can actually turn this off, because we are moving fast enough that it's not that cold. However, when we go off, we'll have to remember to turn it on again. So I'll see you guys when the tips run out, or when we go to 30,000. Hi guys, that was actually kind of funny. I was about to start the video because I knew we were getting close, but we just now ran out of the tips. So we're now finally, for the first time yet on this flight, are burning internal fuel. So when we reach 5,000 pounds internal fuel, we will do two things. We will go ahead and do our ascent to 30,000 feet to get better fuel economy, and we will also transfer whatever rest of the fuel is in these tanks in between like the one underneath us, and then the two other tanks that are underneath there. And at some point we'll have to transfer the fuel as well. And yeah, so that's it for about now. Was I going to check on? Oh yes, the fuel flow. So that's now reduced to about 4,500 pounds per hour because we've been continuously getting lighter. As for our location, we've been gone for about 45 minutes, which means we've done about 430 miles. So in Norsden land, that would put us somewhere right at the northern edge of the equatorial forests, not quite yet to the south of Cape Peninsula, but we're getting there. So, I think what I will go ahead and do now is pause the video, and we'll come back when it's time to do those things. So, see you then. Hi guys, Dr. Aeronautics. We are ready to expedite the climb to 30,000 feet now. We have 5,000 pounds of main fuel, which means we have just about 25,000 pounds gross weight. So at this time, I'm going to disengage the Mach hold, and we have 76% throttle, so I'm going to accelerate to 80% throttle now. And we're going to accelerate to Mach 0.83. And I'm going to tell it to hold Mach 0.83 for the time being. Here's 0.83. And good, the engine is throttling back. So now what I'm going to do is disengage the altitude hold and begin climbing. So altitude hold is disabled. So now I'm going to begin pitching the airplane up a little bit to start the climb. And we're, of course, much higher now because we're going to be climbing, but earlier the fuel flow rate was 4,500 pounds per hour. So by the time we level out at 30,000 feet, we want to see something lower than 4,500 pounds per hour, or it will mean we're wasting fuel. This is actually going to be a long process, and I don't want to make the video too long because I want to do stuff on the ground afterwards, just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video now. I will come back when we get around 30,000. Hey guys, we're coming up on 30,000 feet now, and we're still climbing at a high N1, and our fuel flow is already lower than what it was down at 20,000. So for sure, as tested, this is working. Altitude, hold on, we're at 30,000. And when we reach Mach 0.83, then we go to Mach 0.83. Seem to be accelerating much. Still, we are burning less fuel though, which is good. How did that happen? Looks like we decelerated some. Need a little bit more gas temporarily to reach the autopilot speed Mach 0.83. There we are. Speed holding engaged. And okay, we're still going to have a high N1, but you can see the fuel flow is considerably lower. So now what I'm going to do is relocate all the rest of the fuel from the rest of the external tanks here into the center of the tank. So I'm going to do that real quick. That has to be done on the fuel loading screen because there's some feed issues with the simulation. So I will be back in a moment. I'm actually carrying more fuel than I thought, so I actually can't do that fuel transfer yet. So we're going to be going for a little bit more distance before we do that. So of course fuel flow isn't everything, 4,100 pounds per hour, but of course that deals with speed, but we're moving almost as fast as we were before, just about 10 miles per hour less, so that's going to make up for it. As of yet, we've been going for an hour and 7 minutes. Which means we've done about 650 miles. So we're a little bit over a third of the way there. So I'm going to pause the video now and come back when we've burned enough fuel to do that transfer. So interesting thing to note. I saw a really high cloud up at 30,000 feet, and I was like, what the heck? Cumulus clouds aren't supposed to be this high unless they're anviling like that. So there's actually a thunderstorm, bang, right there. There's a thunderstorm going on down there. We're over the tropics now, and I'm looking for any lightning. I saw a nice lightning strike in a cloud the other time. I don't see any right now. I was hoping that we could catch some on video, but I have a feeling that the thunderstorm is here because that's where most of the cumulus clouds are at. But I don't see any lightning right now, so that was that might have been something. about to say that might be a little bit of a repetitive. Meanwhile, we're somewhere down on the South Achaean Peninsula, so we're making our way down there. It's been an hour and 23 minutes. So we've gone about 790 miles, and we still have about advertised 3,000 pounds left in the tank. And we're going to wait until 2,000 before we perform the fuel move. So see you guys then. So we're advertised right now to have 2,000 pounds left in the tank, but that's not true. Once we do the fuel maneuver, or not the fuel maneuver, the fuel move, it'll be a little bit higher. Meanwhile, we've reached 22,000 pounds, so it's time to slow down to Mach 0.8 to get better fuel economy. So the idea here is speed times fuel flow should always be higher. If it's not, then we're not helping. Let's wait for it. To have stopped slowing down. That's a good thing, because that might mean our new fuel flow is lower. Okay, Mach 0.8, Mach hold is on. Okay, so earlier speed was about 500, and fuel flow was about 3,900. So then we get almost 2 million for that value. Now we're at 3,600 and 485, and we got 1.8 million. So we're getting better fuel economy by doing this. So I'm going to pause one more time while I do the fuel move, and then we'll come back and observe the changes. Okay, the move has been done. So now every single one of our external tanks is empty, but in exchange for moving the fuel around, we now have 4,500 pounds of fuel remaining, well, about 4,300. They're all in the main tank now. So that's it, and we seem to be doing pretty good. We're getting about 3,600. Our N2 has dropped, which is good, and we're still moving almost 550 miles per hour. So that's very good. So I will pause the video now, and I will see you guys for descent time. Hi guys. Something's come up over the radar, and it's not exactly where I thought it would be, but we got to check it out because it might be the Space Center. I don't think we're there yet. I feel like it's a little bit early for that. But hopefully we should be able to get some identifiers on this location and figure out what it is. Okay, I'm going to pause the video until I figure out what this is. Okay, found a name. Come on the screen. Let's hear what you are. Need to identify it. MXA3, that's what we want, and we know where we are now. So I'm going to execute a sharp turn now. We're almost done cruise, actually. But we need to begin turning. That's actually not where we're going, but I know where that is. For Norsden land, we'd be approaching the Space Center, but the real-life equivalent of this location would be about 100, 200 miles west of Cancun, which is where we're going. And I think I can actually see the missile. Yep, there it is. So I can actually see it right now. And we're going to continue turning to there. Let's just get a bearing on this. It's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 degrees. I didn't think it was quite that far. Okay. Looks like the radar has got hung up again. It sometimes does that, but it's kind of annoying. There we go. Shoot. Yeah, see, it got hung up, and now I've gone too far the other direction. I hate it when it does that. Okay, well, we're gonna turn back now, and the good thing is, I can tell you we've made it. We're only like a few hundred miles away, and we still have plenty of fuel left in the tank, which is to be expected because our range is 1,700 miles, and this flight was only about 1,400 miles. So naturally, you should expect that it would be like this. There are a few inertial navigation errors that I need to look into. As the bearing was a little bit off, but that might be due to magnetic declination. I'm pretty sure that the system, though, aligns with geographic north and not magnetic north, but we'll have to figure that one out. I'm going to pause and come back when it's time to begin our descent, so see you soon. Good news, everybody! I found our airport, and the radar got hung up again, and so I've had to snake across the land multiple times, but we're where we should be, and let's go ahead and fix this bearing some. Actually, I take it back. Let's be vigilant. So we're going to check our fuel one more time. We should have plenty. We do. We have 1,800 pounds. No problem there. So I'm going to take us off Mach hold and altitude hold autopilot, and keep the autopilot on and begin the descent. So we're going to go down from 75% throttle to about 65 or so to start the descent. So you can tell this airplane doesn't have the best range, but I mean, it's respectable. I just went from the, low latitudes to the tropics. It's not that bad. Okay, we're going down a little bit fast, so we're going to go up to about 68% throttle to slow our descent some. Oh shoot, did this get hung up again? See, it did. That's the problem, is it keeps us, because now I want to, that's the problem, is this thing keeps on getting hung up, and then I can't tell. It's very difficult and very annoying. Okay, well, we've reached the heading hold that we wanted to, so we're going off autopilot now, and I'm going to expedite this descent. Better to be too early than too late, unless you're about to run out of fuel, in which case you can use the incredibly powerful but inefficient speed brakes, because, well, that's what they're for, is to be inefficient. So because this is the Norsden Land Space Center runways, we're going to be landing on some of the longest runways in the world. So if for some reason we can't manage to land the craft, then we've got problems. We're at 22,000. We should be descending faster. Bring the throttle back to 50%. I'm going to bring the RPM back to 85%. Much better. Can't see our airport yet, but very soon it will be time to make our turn. Oops. I can't imagine how long this video is going to be, which is going to be a little bit unfortunate, but I promised a long flight, and you got a long flight. So whether it's a airplane or a superjet, you're going to get the same thing. A long flight is a long flight. Okay. Descent and landing checklist. Altimeter set. We just go through 18. Yeah, we should have gone through 18,000. So I've set the altimeter. Fuel quantity check and determine final approach. We're gonna have like 1,500. Oh shoot. Okay, it's not time yet. We're gonna have a lot left over, so that's fine. But we're gonna aim for an altitude of 1,500 feet and 325 knots, at which place we'll go flaps takeoff. So let's go ahead and turn to the runway now. We'll also go on idle, because it seems like we're coming up to the pretty close. Let's start drawing in the radar range. Interesting that we still can't see it. Do they hide it under the trees or something? Alright, we've waited too long for this turn, so we should turn back. Alright, we're descending faster than is needed, so we'll throttle back up soon. We want to get to 325 knots before we go to flaps takeoff. Below 10,000 feet, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn on our landing lights. For some reason, I still can't see it. Okay, why are we glitching? This far to land in a glitchy aircraft. We are moving a bit fast, I have to say, so we can start slowing down. Man, I'm starting to think that we're going to be missing the texture for this, because this is kind of ridiculous. Flaps takeoff. And now at 260 knots we can lower the landing gear. Man, where the heck is it? There it is. Finally, it's come into view. Maybe it's just that we're not as close as I think we are. There it is. Well, good. It looks like I'm a bit too early, which is what I wanted. Okay, gear down. Should be going much faster than this. Because at 210 knots, that's when the landing flaps are supposed to go down. Okay, I'm setting the flaps now. RPM not less than 83%. And here is the final approach. The jittery approach, because for some reason my computer decides to lag. Please stop lagging. It's hurting me. It's hurting me a lot. Oh my gosh, this frame rate. looks like we have a pretty good final approach setup. There's touchdown. And now we can chop the power. All right, good flight. Let's see where we can turn off. Let's get a good taxiway to turn off. That was great. Despite the low frame rate right there, I think my computer recovered a little bit, and I was able to set up the approach correctly. So we're going to shut the craft down. There we go. I see a taxiway now. We're going to shut the craft down after pulling off the runway, and we're going to sit and wait until morning, because I can guarantee you as soon as I get out of the airplane, the first thing I'm going to hear is and then the F-104 will be no more. And the creeper will actually set off a bigger explosion of the craft, which is even worse. So yeah, that's bad. Okay, good. We'll go ahead and put the nose of the plane right about here. And we'll go ahead and stop. So, with some glitching, we hit 4 Gs, but that's okay because we didn't until the very end, which is fine. We still have plenty of fuel left, over 1,000 pounds. So we can begin the shutdown procedure checklist now. Okay, after landing, wing flaps takeoff, so let's go ahead and do that. Good, takeoff lights indicated. Heaters and defoggers off, so let's go ahead and turn that off. We can turn that off. We can turn this off. Okay, good. Swivel guard, nah, that's not. Rain remover, nope. Okay, radar, turn it off. Let's give it a second, and off. Speed brakes in, and they're in. Trim set for takeoff, 53%. Done. And well, let's get some nice tropical air inside so we can go ahead and open the canopy. The nice salty air that everyone talks about. And flaps up. So you're supposed to leave flaps in landing position. I forgot to explain. You're supposed to leave them in landing position for cooling, but I have for long enough, so that's not a problem. Inertial navigator to post align. Here we go. And then off. So then it says all electrical equipment off, so let's just go ahead and start by shutting all of this down. Do we still have our navigation lights on? Okay, we can turn those off now. And this can go to off. Turn the IFF on traffic updates off. Turn the tack on off as well. We like that set to pylons typically. What time is it? 10:45. So yeah, we're gonna have mob problems. Set the altimeter for local, and now we can take the airspeed marker back to 0 as I like to do. And that should be good. Perfect. Airspeed marker set to 0. Anti-skid off. And APC off. Stability roll, pitch, yaw off. UHF off. And those off as well. Autopilot is off. That's good. Run engine for at least 3 minutes. Well, according to my timer, it's already been 3 minutes, so it should be good. Plus, the operation during taxi can be considered that. And now, we're going to set the throttle to off. So the last thing that we need to do is check the fuel again. We still have plenty, so we won't even need to refuel for starting. And, hello. I hear another plane. Okay. So there's 2 more things that I wanted to do real quick. Oh, yes. Now I remember. Okay. So that's fine. Lights off, because we're going to be losing power. Kill the generators. High idle. Lock override. And throttle off. Okay, I will see you guys when the sun rises, so that we don't have to deal with the mobs. See you then. Hey guys, it's coming up to morning now, so I don't see any problems around us, so I think we can go ahead and get out. But here we are. Right outside the Space Center, and I'm going to build, sounds like something's down there. I'm going to build the plane wherever I can find room. It's going to be static in Minecraft because it will be beyond the block limit. So actually, you know what? It might not be. It's going to be close. I think it's around like 600 or 700 blocks, so it's probably going to be pretty close. But I might build it here, if not, maybe down there, just avoiding this area, because this is where the launch pad's going to be. And speaking of launch pads, I have a new invention. So, using some gunpowder, I mashed it up and made a explosive with it, with some paper or something. And then if I cut some paper into thins, the explosion will... Well, first of all, I have to roll it up, stick the gunpowder inside, and then when you light it, it burns down instead of in each direction. So it goes up, and then it has this star in it that explodes. So here is a firework rocket. So let's have a quick countdown. This is Norsden Land's very first rocket, and we're going to end here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off of Norsden Land's first rocket and explosion. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I knew it was long, but hey, we got here, and now I'm going to build the B1 with all of this off screen so you guys don't see it. Next episode, I will be right here. We'll get back inside the B1, and then we're going to stick the F-104 inside and fly back home. And that's how we're going to do it. So, I will see you guys next time for that flight. Bye.